Hello, and welcome back to this series where I'll teach you how to use Python to automate drawings in AutoCAD. Remember that we are using the PyAutoCAD and PyWin32 modules to create the drawings, and the ComTypes module to manipulate information from Excel. If you don't know how to install them in your working environment, watch the previous video. In this video, I'll teach you how to create and insert lines in AutoCAD and some of their properties that you will be able to modify from Python. We start by writing from PyAutoCAD import AutoCAD, a point in our first line of code. This will import these two classes into our code. We continue by writing from math import py and import math, so we can use the value of pi later in our code. We call the AutoCAD class by creating the variable ACAD. The variable names will be the same as in the previous video, but you can use any name you like. We define another variable, which I'll call doc, to get the active document in AutoCAD. We define the third and final variable, which I'll call model S, from which we'll get the model space and be able to draw in it. Let's print the name of the document we are working on using the print function. This will allow us to confirm which document is currently active. We run the code, and we'll see the name of the document in the console. To be able to draw lines, we need 2 points. So we will initially define a series of points that we will use throughout the video. The point names will go from 0 to 7, giving a total of 8 points, each with different coordinates. We are going to create and insert the lines in AutoCAD. For this, we will use the addLine function. As I mentioned before, to create a line using Python, we need 2 points that will define the start and end of the line. We are going to create several lines, so we'll copy this line of code and modify the points for each case. To avoid interference in our code, we will give each variable a name. We run the code and we'll see the result inside AutoCAD. As you can see, we have created a square with the 4 lines drawn. The first properties we're going to look at are how to copy and move lines from Python. The procedure is similar to what we saw in the previous video with the points. To create a copy, we'll define a variable called line5, which will be the copy of line 1. We copy this line of code to create copies of the other lines. As you might be guessing, we are creating a copy of the square. Now we are going to move the lines, since this copy is created in the same place as the original, and we don't want that. To move objects, we use the move function, which requires 2 points, a base point and a destination point. To see the result, we run the code, and we'll see that another square has been created. We are going to create another square, so we'll repeat the same procedure. We'll use these squares later to see the scale function. This square we are creating is being placed to the right, using point P5, which is 20 units from the center. Once we are done, we review the results and see that we have already drawn 3 squares. As we move forward, we will delete the drawing to avoid generating multiple lines in the same position. The next property we're going to look at is scale. This allows us to scale any line from Python. To apply it, we write scale entity attached, and this function will require 2 parameters. The first will be the base point, which in my case is 0.0, 0. The second parameter will be the scale value, which must always be a number. If the number is greater than 1, that means the line will become n times larger. On the other hand, if the number is less than 1, the line will be reduced n times according to the value we set. Now, we will scale the 2 additional squares we have. As you'll notice, we'll double the size of the first one while reducing the other to half. To save time, we simply copy the similar lines of code and change the variable names. We run it and see the result, having 3 squares of different sizes. As you can see, using scale through Python is very simple and can make our lives easier if the drawings are the same but with different sizes. The next property we're going to look at is mirror, which allows us to generate a mirrored object across an axis of symmetry. To see this property, we'll create 2 lines that will be mirrored objects of line 1 and line 2. This function requires 2 parameters, which correspond to 2 points through which we'll generate a line of symmetry. For line 13, we create a straight symmetry axis that will give us a straight line. But for line 14, by choosing an inclined symmetry axis, we'll get an inclined line as a result. It's important to understand which symmetry axis we want to use when automating our drawings, since this will substantially affect the outcome of the drawing. The next property we'll look at is how to assign a layer to a line. The method is the same as the one we used for the point. Simply write point layer after the object followed by the name of the layer we want to assign to it. For this function to work, the layer must already exist in the original file. Otherwise, it will generate an error. With that, we've reached the end of the video. Here, I showed you how to insert lines in AutoCAD and some properties you can modify from Python. In the next video, I'll teach you other properties that will complement what we've seen here. Remember that I have a course on Udemy where I teach how to automate drawings using Python. The link is in the description. There, you'll see this applied in a much more practical way through a project. The idea is for you to learn the concepts and be able to apply this knowledge to your own projects. Thank you all very much, and I'll see you in the next video, which I hope won't take as long to release as this one.